Sean here, and this community is amazing. There are so many creators. I don't know, just spark something in me. But if I ever have the misfortune to talk to Chance online, I'm going to have a soundboard. And it's just going to have something I can press over and over that I know will just enrage him. Because you know how when he starts screaming, it just keeps going and going and going. The easiest way to deal with Chance is just cut him off. When he's at a crescendo, just cut the call. Cut it. Don't let him dial back in. Don't acknowledge he said anything. And he will continue to try to dial back in for the rest of the time that you're talking. The same thing with Lauren. And you guys know Lauren is one of my least favorite people, but favorite content. The best thing to do for Lauren would have been when he was cursing them out and accusing them and hanging up is to block his phone and not let him call you, because he would be calling every 5 and it would get more frequent and more frequent until the point where he was going to lose his mind. Then when you finally answer the phone, if he didn't go, what the, because the minute he started again, boom, hang up, block him, and see how long it takes him before he realized, maybe I should be nicer when I answer the phone. But we know it wouldn't last. 5 minutes in, he'd be losing it. Well, Chance, we know his obsessive compulsive behavior and how he gets obsessed and just goes after these women. Like the time Lauren called something like 1,000 times to, quote, check on, unquote, a girl that was driving a black car, and there just happened to be an accident somewhere within 1 billion miles of where he lives, and he was trying to reach her. Actually, he was stalking her. And then Chance with the whole Candle situation, and Heather and Kira, and we could just go on and on and on. Obviously, he doesn't know about relationships, but I would want a soundboard, and one of them would be, I don't know, something like PDF, you're a PDF. PDF, you're a PDF. And it would just keep going. Oh, the reaction. Anyway, he was never, ever taught about relationships, ever. And Chance talks about the time he was cheated on and made up this story about going to a concert, and they got in a secluded area, which is, of course, I will tell you how, I'll share with you. This is how, I think I started the video. If I do, fuck it, I may post it. So I was a 3rd-degree black belt at the time. I was an instructor, and it was at a very large testing. It was a black belt testing, but it was also lower belts testing as well, but the highlight was the black belt testing. My ex was 2nd degree, and she was also an instructor, and we had been doing it for a long time. So I came out to do a special demo. It's pretty freaking cool if I can find it. There was one person standing on a chair here, one person standing on a chair across from him. They were holding a board straight up, as high. I told him, put it as high as your hands can reach. And I did a jump front kick, broke it. And at the very end, we did this cool, well, probably wasn't cool, but you know me, I'm going to say it's cool. This little choreographed staff bite. And we bowed and we were walking off. Everybody was cheering and applauding because the other guy was another instructor, very popular instructor. And I stood out there, and my instructor goes, Mr. McClure, have you forgot something? And I looked around and I said, I don't know. This is so dumb. If you want to skip, you can. But I turned around and I got on one knee, and she didn't realize what was going on. But everybody else did. They knew it. And so I turned around and I grabbed the microphone and I proposed to her. Her dad was there. He did not like the fact that I didn't come to him and ask permission. He is old school, and I miss him. He was a cool dude, man. Short, like maybe 5'6", 5'7", but a certified badass, and they were terrified of him. Not the family, but you know what I mean. I made a big deal out of it. I said a bunch of things that I meant. Probably still mean some of them now. Anyway, it was a big deal. That's how I proposed. In front of a shit ton of people, in a very creative way. She had no idea it was coming. This fucking goblin is supposedly at a concert, takes her off to the side, gets down on one knee, probably pulls out one of those plastic 50 cent rings he's got, and he's like, I don't mean 50 Cent the rapper, you know what I mean. Sweetheart, I can't. Look at that face. That's the face that's looking at you. Would you like to be my wife? And of course, we know all of this is bullshit. All of it. I'm sorry, I went off on that tangent. I just wanted to share. I was kind of embarrassed. I kept pausing. But Chance supposedly proposed, but later his friend Eric, not Eric Scrublow, he made sure to say that, took the woman, probably a girl, maybe a teenager at the time, away from him. We all know that if you truly love somebody, no one can take you away. We know this. Chance doesn't. There's always an excuse. And one thing I told my son is, if a woman leaves you, it's her choice. You didn't make her do anything. Of course, unless you do something terrible. Then if they don't leave, then that's when people have to intervene and get them out of that situation. And this is what I think happened with Chance. I dated a woman who had gotten divorced. This was probably 5 years ago. I dated a woman who had gotten a divorce. I knew the family forever. And I thought they were this loving family, this beautiful family. Later I found out how insane it was. She had gone over with an escort to get stuff out of the house. Her son blocked the doorway. He trapped her in the bathroom, hand on the side of her head, with his other hand right on her, like at the base of her neck, with his son in the fucking living room, asking her if they could do a bunch of shit. Immediately went to her family and lied and said all this shit. The reason I'm telling you this is it took me and a bunch of other dudes to come over there. The minute that little shithead pulled up in the car and saw us, he was like, fuck this, and he went the other way, and she got out safely. That's what Chance was like. I think it was Heather that was Kira. I don't know. Come on. Seriously, I don't know. I don't remember. There's so many different videos of weird-looking women. It's just bizarre. But the woman that was leaving his house, and apparently they tried to block her way, and I think Sally would probably be involved. And that's another problem I have with Sally. She knew he was stalking all of these women and all of the drama, and she didn't stop him. She didn't do anything because she's a psycho bitch, just like her little goblin wuss. There are reasons for women to leave men. Obviously, I'm talking about that side because I'm making a point. Men, there are reasons to leave women. If you're cheated on ever, I'm telling you, leave. They do not love you. They do not respect you. It was not a moment of weakness. It was a lack of respect. If they're already at that point, there's a post going around that I saw about a woman who talked about her husband throwing 10 years of marriage away just because she cheated once. He gave all of that up. That's when I realized this world is jacked, man. But again, I'll say it. If you're in a relationship and you've been cheated on, just because it's okay now, I assure you, it will not be okay in the future. Because I'm going on a tangent. I'll keep it short. I think this will help people because it will not go away in your mind. Man or woman, it will not go away. You will always have that, and it will resurface. And you'll be hypersensitive, hyper-aware to everything that whoever cheated did. And in their head, they're going to be worried that you're going to cheat. And sometimes the worry for that person who cheated is so much that they're going to cheat again. Well, I may as well cheat again. He's probably cheating on me, or she's probably cheating on me. Chance would never learn this. And Chance is also the kind of guy that probably wants to beat up whoever the woman left you for, because there's always a relief pitcher, at least on both sides usually. Men are usually the worst. They pick the worst. But I did tell my son, if a woman leaves you, fighting the other dude, I don't care if they're your best friend, is going to solve nothing. She made her choice. Do not fight to get someone back that doesn't want you, and Chance doesn't know that. He doesn't. This is all shit we know. Maybe some of you don't verbalize it, but you know this. Chance does not. And this is why Sally was probably desperate for Gordon to be in his life. And please educate this little goblin. But I told him, never fight. What are you fighting for? And you can't hate the guy. We have one life. And this guy wanted her for the exact same reasons you did. And she made her choice. So you're going to go fight the other guy, and you're going to piss her off even more. For some reason, some dudes think if you beat up the other guy, she's going to be like, hell yeah, I'm going back to this alpha male. But if you're in a relationship where you fight the other guy and she gets back with you, it's, again, with the cheating and the... I hope you are never in that situation. When you're younger, shit like this happens. It does, and it hurts, and it takes a long time to get over. That's another thing that he was never coached on. The long time it takes to get over. And because it's over, it has to be over. Don't go for the closure shit. You may think about that person a lot because you spend a lot of time. I was with my ex 15 and a half years, counting dating. And we were coming up on our 10th wedding anniversary. And it was just an epic fucking failure. And we both kind of checked out. I was a big part of it. So was she. But I know how I was. And I know why I was the way I was. It's something that maybe one day I'll talk about, but I never cheated on her. You guys have heard me say it. Could have. Sorry, dropped a mint box. Sometimes I do wonder if this is like therapy for me. But my experiences, because I've dated women in the triple digits, well over 100, whether it be one date or multiple dates or short stints while I was in the Marine Corps when we were overseas and back here. And there were so many from high school. It was just like I discovered women, and that's all I wanted to do. It was all about women. That was my life. It's not bragging. It's just me. The reason Chance is dangerous is because his life is all about sexual stuff, man or woman. And he will stop at nothing to get what he wants, and the age doesn't seem to matter. And Sally never taught him how to be respectable, how to treat a woman, how to attract a woman. Obviously, you need a job, Chance, and a future, and some prospects, and you don't need to be an angry, fury-ridden goblin. And even the way I was talking about the way I proposed, there were so many different ways. A guy took his wife out. I thought this was really romantic. Turns out she didn't really like it, but he had a white motorboat, and he had decked it out and all with red sashes and roses and candles on the divider there in the middle, and they went out on their favorite lake, and he proposed. I guess it wasn't a big enough deal, but I thought that was really romantic. He put a lot of work and thought into it, because coming down the dock, there were rose petals and like a red carpet, and he was all dressed up. They had a romantic dinner before. But I thought it was really romantic. Apparently she didn't think it was that romantic. The bitch said no. She later said yes. But I can understand if someone isn't ready. Chance could, the point I'm making. Chance couldn't understand if someone was ready or not. They would be ready when he was ready. And just like Lorne, Chance would see whoever it is as a living fleshlight. That's all he would care about. You are nothing but a piece of meat. And the reason I wanted to get engaged, a couple of you have said this, we also said it about Lorne, is that Cyraxx wants to trap you. And he believes marriage is a binding agreement that you can never break, no matter what. He can be a goblin. He can be violent. And he can be verbally and mentally abusive. A lot of people, I say a lot of people, I'm generalizing, but I think a lot of people that have gotten separated realize after the fact that they were being verbally and mentally abused. Or at least that's what they're telling their partner. But the partner realizes, and this is easier to realize, the gaslighting that went on, the refusal to apologize. These are common things you hear. People say the refusal to apologize. The apology that is a non-apology. I'm sorry you took what I said that way. I'm sorry you felt that way about what I said. Not because of what they said, not because of what they did, not because of the bullshit. It's just a common thing, and Chance would not know how to deal with that. That's why his proposals happen. I'm not really good at this. The whole act of, I'm not really good at this. Gosh, you're just the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I know we're on video chat. I've never laid a finger on you. But let's get married. And you're my fiance and your children are my children. I'm not sure why. I don't want to go into that too much. But I know that Chance wants to skip the line and be dad, have kids, and be normal, because he's never been normal. And maybe getting a woman and having kids would be some kind of standard that he felt he lived up to. See, I'm normal. I did what everybody else did. It would be like an Olympian who's trained for 12 years and finally gets the gold medal. For a Chance, it would be like, they said I couldn't do it, but I did it anyway. I reached the top of the mountain, top of the world, Sally. The career, he's always talking about a career. It would be the same thing with a relationship. Non-existent. Non-existent. Because he never put in any of the work, went through any of the steps, went through any of the hardships. And this is what bothers me about his engagements. If you get engaged too quickly, or you rush to get married, you've never been through the terrible parts. You've never been through the downs when you don't have any money. That's a real test of your relationship. When you don't have any money, when you do have a fight, when there is jealousy involved. And like I said in a past video, the bell that cannot be unrung is an accusation of cheating, and Chance would ring that bell every single day. And I'm not sure if Chance is the guy we talked about, Lauren. Man, I can't even remember what I called the video, but I made a video about it, about Lauren and how he would want to see what's on his partner's text messages, and then the phone calls and text messages and the Facebook, and want to see all of their messages. If you really love someone and you're willing to tolerate all of this obsession, and you don't care, and you're not doing anything wrong, do it. But it's the same thing as the government having complete access to your email, and it would be an invasion of privacy for most people, and Chance could do whatever he wants. Get out of here, I need to use the computer for a little bit. But if his, whatever he's calling it, fiance wife was on the computer, he'd want to be right over her shoulder. Well, don't say that. He'll probably think you're trying to flirt with him. None of this was taught to him. And like I said yesterday, no boundaries. Sally never set any boundaries. So Chance sets his own boundaries. Never been in any real relationships. So Chance follows his own rules. And he's going to do a bunch of insane shit. And the woman is going to be in hell. But that's okay, because they're married. And Chance knows marriage is a legally binding contract. And the government will arrest the woman if she tries to divorce him, no matter what he's done. And every time he cheats, every time, you can cheat mentally, emotionally. Emotional cheating can be devastating to a relationship, because even though nothing is done, it's like when you poke fun at somebody and there's truth in the insults, and you never break the skin. Eventually you will. You just keep leaving little indentations, and they're annoying, and eventually you'll break the skin, and there you go, and it's over. Emotional cheating is the same way. You're getting that attention you want, and it reminds you that you're not getting it at home. And someone said to me, I should out the motherfucker because I hate him. But they came to me in good faith, and I had a discussion with them. They said, well, since my wife cheated, the sex has been amazing. I was like, wow. Two absolute terrible people. One married the woman for her looks and for sex, and the other one doesn't care about her husband. She just wants to cheat. Insanity. And I did wonder, when that situation popped into my head, I did wonder if Chance would think that was normal. As long as he was getting what he wanted, it would be okay. And I think Chance would end up being a cuck. I think he would. I think he'd want to get involved, but it wouldn't be with the woman. And I have my suspicions about the quartering. suspicions, not proof. He's got that feminine, soft, feminine voice, and he's just lisp a little bit and talking about Adam and whatever. I don't really care. But I think, because he's a cuck, according to everyone else, I'd have him alleged. But Chance, I think he would end up willingly. He might push for it and sit in the corner with his little goblin. I think if Marty would have rolled up with a girlfriend, Chance would have asked for it. You guys do your thing. I'm going to sit over in the corner and do my thing, gobbling out. I don't even think he knows who he should be pursuing. What makes a good partner? He goes for the weak, the disabled, anyone who might just risk it. Well, I can't find anybody else, and this guy is telling me he loves me, even though we've only known each other for 5 minutes. Maybe I'll give it a shot, and there it is. You're doomed. But he wouldn't know who to go after. Age, who's out of his league. Because, guys, we shoot out of our league sometime. We know this. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. We tend to stay in our lane, whether we want to admit it or not. We find a woman that's what we want on the same level, if possible. Usually, some of us, including myself, sometimes we champion those that are less fortunate, that have a normal life. They're really trying very hard. You sell all your guitars and give them the money so they can pay their rent and everything else. Not saying I did it, but I did it. But it wasn't all the time. It's the person. If they're an amazing person, you overlook the situation and you overlook the faults that they may have. Most of us are good at that. Yeah, people are going to have faults as long as they're not going to affect the relationship or cause massive chaos and drama. Overlook them. Chance has nothing but faults. Who the hell is going to overlook his damn faults? No one. Something scary to me. I did think about this when I was heavily watching To Catch a Predator, and you'd see these guys that were married and the families, and I don't know if I could, Bald Beaver Hunter, that guy. Well, it's just oral, Well, obviously you're a therapist. Sent me to an island. That guy. And he was talking about having to explain it to his wife why he was trying to hook up with a 13-year-old. How can you do that? Imagine you're married to someone. Now, women, for some reason, the kid's 13, you high-five the kid. Yeah, you guys have all heard that. You're like, yeah, hook up, she's hot, go for it. But with girls, especially if you have a daughter, if you have a son, you want to protect your children from people who want them to grow up too fast and do things they have no business doing with someone who's an absolute fucking monster. So you're in a I don't even know if I can say this without you guys hating me. You're in a relationship with Chance. And that face you see on the screen, mid-sex, that face appears. Oh yeah, nightmares. But you get an email, or worse, visit from the police, and they want to know about this conversation. Because it's Ohio, they might high-five him. Yeah, PDF. Yeah, we love you. And Chance is also the guy who thinks you have to be caught in the act to be guilty. Imagine you are a spouse and that is the revelation that comes out. How would you even deal with that? You'd be dealing with it. You'd be catching him on a daily... You know how he always says, this is what I do on a daily basis. I've been a PDF for 10 plus years. We know, Chance. We know you have. How would you even deal with that? The verbal mental abuse would seem like nothing. Because now you're associated. And if he gets convicted, you're now the spouse that was married to a convicted PDF. It's bad enough that Sally raised generational PDFs. Probably going to... There was a skit on Mad TV about, I'm Eugene Struthers. I come from a long line of professional eyewitnesses. And it goes all the way back to Egypt It's just pretty funny. Like, he's there at all the historical events. If you want a good laugh, look up Eugene Struthers and just die. It's amazing. But he comes from a long line of PDFs, and I just picture flashbacks of him in the courtroom going all the way back to the beginning of time. There's no recovering for that. And everything I talked about before is nothing compared to trying to come back from what he would get caught doing over and over and over again. I'll probably make another one of these videos, a little more structured, less stories. I really do think Sally has failed on so many levels, and the video I put out yesterday, and then this, it just keeps going and going and going, and the epic failure will be one of the most epic of all time. I'll see you guys in the next one.